My next guest is one of the single most influential forces in popular music, a man responsible for having helped reshape the entire music scene in the 70s. And in popular music, where styles and fads are constantly changing. He's a permanent fixture. And this is a long-awaited pleasure for me. Would you please welcome Elton John? I'm so used to saying that, like as an audience, they can't actually hear us.
No, never mind.
We have tried desperately to reach you.
Yeah, desperately, I know.
We were going to London to do you, and last evening we were going to do you at Studio 54, and you want to talk about that at all? Because has life gotten to that point where you cannot go someplace where there are people and relax?
No, I won't tolerate bad manners. And it sounds awfully pompous. But it's just that I went in and I felt like an animal in the zoo. It was just a rush of photographers, you know, and I just got very unhappy about the way they acted, really. I mean, I will always stay somewhere until everyone's got their last shot or signed their last autograph. But that was really distasteful, and I went out, I got back into the car, I thought about it, and I said, let's go around the block and come back and see if, you know, I just couldn't handle it, really. I mean, no, there isn't a point in my life where I can't, you know, I just thought it was good manners. If they'd have just taken it easy one at a time, I'd have done anything for them. But I couldn't tolerate that. So consequently, everybody had to miss out, which was a drag.
That's too bad. This has been quite a tour for you. Yesterday, you were the first pop music performer, to be indoctrinated into the Madison Square Garden Hall of Fame. And also, I want to remind everybody about this, your new album, Elton John's Greatest Hits. Tell me about yesterday, the indoctrination.
That was quite a scene as well. Well, I've got a great ego as far as sports goes. I'm a great fan. I'll go anywhere to meet anybody who's got anything to do with sports because I love it. And when Madison Square Garden came up with this honor, which it is for me, to be sort of indoctrinated into the Hall of Fame and be the first non-sportsman or someone not connected with sport to be indoctrinated in it, I jumped at it, you know, I was so pleased. And I said, of course I'll do it. And I think it's fair to say that I think we've earned it as far as performance goes. I mean, I played there for 7 days last year, and I think Led Zeppelin broke the record this year. But we, you know, we do contribute to Madison Square Gardens and the complex that it is. And I was just knocked out to be on the wall with all those great boxers and things like that, and athletes. Wonderful. I go anywhere to get a gold record. I mean that most sincerely, and I go anywhere to meet sports people.
I'm into sports, too, and we were just talking before that they actually said, go ahead with this conversation. You love soccer, don't you?
Absolutely, yes. I've got a soccer team in England. I'm a chairman of a soccer team, which means I'm the owner. But there's a difference, a vast difference in English soccer. It's a hobby. It is not a money-making concern. So my team is in there are 4 divisions, if I can explain it. The top division, of course, is where all the big teams play, and we're in the 4th. And there is a system of relegation and promotion, where the top 4 teams in each division go up, and the bottom 4 go down. So everyone switches places so that they can eventually get to the top if they're good enough. So my team are in the 4th. I've got high spirits for high hopes because we're in an area just out of London. The place is called Watford, and we have a potential there. My dream is building a 30,000-seater stadium. We've got the room for it and the facilities, and that's what I'm aiming to do. But as I said, it's a non-money-making concern, so you do it basically as a hobby.
For love.
For love, yeah. Sure. Over here, if you want to invest in a soccer franchise over here, I think you're allowed to make a little money out of it. So it's a totally different thing. It's still exciting, but for me, I suppose England and the team I'm with at the moment is more exciting, although I would like to get more involved with the soccer scene over here. I've been involved with the LA Aztecs, but I haven't been too happy actually with the way I have been involved. I think I've been used just as an object, really. So maybe that'll sort itself out, but I want to get involved much more in American soccer on a professional basis because I know a lot more, and I could give much more advice, and they think I know. They probably just think, well, he knows nothing about it, but I do know, being chairman of a club in England.
Do you think that in the foreseeable future there will be anything like a soccer World Series in America that will catch on to that level? I'm entirely
convinced by it, really, because it's firmly planted now. Pelé laid the roots. He was the only man in the world that could have done it, and he signed for the Cosmos and created excitement. But in areas like the Northwest in Seattle, it's enormous. Kids, you know, just everyone's playing soccer. And I hope eventually, within 10 years, it's not unreasonable to think America could have the world's best soccer team made entirely out of American-born people. And I think that's incredibly exciting.
What a marvelous man. I know you've met him. Isn't he special?
Oh, he's incredible. He's the most humble or inspiring. He's humble, but he's
humble.
The best tribute I can pay him is that he's totally unaware of how wonderful he is, which is great.
That's right. Can I ask you briefly about this book, which was just handed to me? Elton, it's a little bit funny. Tell me about that.
Well, a friend of mine called David Nutter is a photographer, and he lives in New York, but I know him from England. And he basically followed me around for a year, taking photographs on stage, off stage, in my private life as well, and taking some amusing photographs. It's really a book of funny things and me being ridiculous. It's an unusual book of photographs.
Does Elton John know when he walks on stage what he's going to do, pretty much? How much of it do you have planned, and how much just happens spontaneously? Well, you have a feeling, seeing you on the Rock Awards with Diana Ross that night I saw you there, that much of what you were doing was very spontaneous.
Well, because we didn't have a script. It had to be spontaneous. No, it's spontaneous mostly, but I mean, you obviously have a script, but I never know at any particular time what I'm going to do. However, I stopped touring in 1976 at the Madison Square Garden concerts because there was a feeling inside of me that says, hold on a minute, am I getting a little mechanical? I didn't think I was, but it wasn't a clinical and a sort of calculated opinion as far as the brain work goes. It was a feeling in the stomach. You know when you get stomach feelings and it's an instinct thing?
Yep.
And I thought, hold on a minute, I've been doing this for 7 years. I've got to take a little break. I've got to devote some attention and some energy to some other things. So that I can get my enthusiasm. I felt my enthusiasm for it might be waning. So I stopped, and hopefully I'm going to come back again next year with a band. I have no set plans, but I know I'll do something. My interest is now sort of getting alive again as far as recording and playing to public again.
I also read that you were thinking seriously of playing more intimate clubs.
Absolutely. I did a tour of England, and I played small halls because that's the only sort of halls you can play in England. And I liked it. I got a little fed up. I played Pontiac Stadium, Detroit, and I saw these faces squashed up against the sort of barriers, and I thought, this isn't what I started out wanting to do. It's all very ego. It's a great ego trip seeing 60, 70,000 people to see you, and it's great fun, I don't deny it. But somewhere along the way, I think rock and roll has lost its path in the fact that it's become so big, it's become such a big machine, the record company's taken over, and I have helped contributed to that, so now I have to really go back and do what I feel artistically is best for me, and I really would like to play the Carnegie Hall or somewhere like that when I come back. Not because I don't enjoy playing Madison Square Garden, but I feel artistically that I don't honestly want to play too big a place again. I'd rather reach out and touch the audience rather than see them squashed up against a fence, if you know what I mean.
Yes, will this mean there'll be a more, a different approach to your music?
Who knows? I've no idea.
But you're toying with that idea, I have the feeling.
Yeah, I've got to I'm still reevaluating myself, which is a terribly American expression, really trying to get to grips with myself. I'm very excited about what's going to happen, but I don't know what's going to happen, if you know what I mean. I'm recording this weekend with Tom Bell, who is a brilliant black musician and produces the Spinners, and this will be entirely different for me. I won't be playing piano, I'll just be standing up and singing, and he's written 4 of the 6 songs that we're going to, well, he hasn't written, he's found 4 of the 6 songs that we're going to do, and only 2 of them have been written by myself and Bernie Taupin. So that's
had Bernie on my show one time. He's a charming guy.
Yeah, he's marvelous.
I had 4 songwriters on the show, all from different areas. Country, I had Isaac Hayes and Bernie, Tom T. Hall, and Marvin Hamlish, and it was a marvelous show. To see the 4 of them sitting there comparing notes. And
well, he got robbed at the show in Elton the other night.
Oh, was he there when they hit that place?
They pitched his diamond beer can. So yeah, he's coming up to Seattle with me. I'm excited because I've never done anything like that before. So basically my career, I know I'm very positive about it, but I don't know what's going to happen yet, which is great.
Can I ask you a question that I hope doesn't turn you off?
Yeah.
So many of us, when we're starting and we're comparatively new in this business, borrow from people who have already arrived. Not to the point where people can recognize what we're doing, but a little here and a little there. Did you do any borrowing along the way?
Oh, absolutely. I still do it.
From whom?
Well, originally, being a young piano player, my original influence was a woman called Winifred Atwell, who was sort of like, how can I say, she was like Carmen Cavallero, only she was a woman. But that was my original influence, and then, of course, rock and roll arrived, and Little Richard and Jerry Lee Lewis and people like Fats Domino, any piano players arrived, and I copied them. And then I really liked people like, then it was Ramsey Lewis and people like that, and then it got to be people like Leon Russell and the band. I was terribly influenced by those two, the band and Leon Russell at the same time. The music from Big Pink when that album came out, and Leon Russell when he first started. And that sort of revolutionized my style of piano playing. And I listen to so many things that I think you subconsciously steal all the time. I don't think you can be perfectly, unless you completely shut yourself away, I don't think you can be completely original. I get great fun out of sort of listening to things, and I do subconsciously steal things, yeah.
Your wardrobe, your outlandish wardrobe, did that just evolve or what?
It's been the great misunderstanding of my career, I think. Everybody, when your song came out, thought I was, and the album that came from had a very dark picture of me being alternately moody on it. And I think that people thought I was going to become, going to come on stage a really depressing sort of hovelly sort of rounded shoulders and disappearing and not looking at the audience. Where in fact, I was never like that at all. I was always into rock and roll and quite flamboyant. That being, the flamboyancy being a part of myself, it's called latent teenagers, I think. Having not been allowed to wear things when I was a kid, so I started making up for it on stage. And I'm afraid a lot of people have got misled thinking that I sold out artistically. I went for the money. Things like Crocodile Rock was a great misleading thing as well. It came from an album where I wanted Daniel to be the single, and the record company said, no, Crocodile Rock, you should release that. Consequently, it was my first gold single. But a lot of people thought, oh, he's sold out, you know, commercialism. But I wasn't. It's just a sense of humor. I find sense of humor in this industry terribly lacking amongst artists. They're so serious about what they're doing, and what they're doing really isn't that important. I also
You think a lot of them are believing their reviews, more or less?
Well, I think, you know, they're so into what they're doing and so deep. I believe sincerely in what I'm doing. But
you have become a bore with it.
Yeah, they do. Most of them are really boring, quite honest.
Liberace is the first person I ever worked with in a nightclub. Closest person that we have in America to what you wear on the stage. Have you two ever met?
Yes, I did the Royal Variety Show in London with him about 4 years ago now. I had 3 wonderful outfits made for it, and I thought I was so wonderful. I had them all hanging up. Jack Jones and myself were in the dressing room because everyone has to share. And then Liberace came in with about 6 trunks wheeled all, and then Jack Jones and I were sitting up there like that. And I only had 1 costume in these 6 trunks, and he completely flattened me. I think he's a great entertainer.
Great entertainer.
Yeah, very tongue-in-cheek, you see.
That's right. Now, there's a man who actually will admit to, he told me early in his career, I borrowed a little from Cara Busan, a little from Hildegard, and so on up the line. And
I probably borrowed a bit from Hildegard. But, no, and Dorothy, wherever they are. But no, you see, I'm really sincere when I'm singing, and I give, you know, I sing with my eyes. I'm very soulful as far as my singing goes, I think, anyway. But you know, I'm sitting there with a carrot hanging around my neck, and people think, well, he can't be, you know, he can't really mean it. But I do. It's their hang-up, not mine.
What does Elton John do when he wants to lock it all out and go someplace and just unwind? What do you do? Where do you go?
Well, I went to Barbados, and there's pictures of Barbados in the book. And you're just lying on the beach, and people still come up to you and prod up and kick sand in your face going, "You Elton John?" So you can't really lock yourself away.
You ever deny it? You ever just say no?
No, because I think it's rude.
Yes, it is.
And then
But you wanted to do it.
Oh, many times, of course. But my upbringing doesn't allow it. You know, I just want to tell people to shove off
Good for you.
sometimes.
God bless you for that.
No, I relaxed in Barbados. But I relax by water skiing and playing tennis. I can't really sit down because I've got so much energy. I'm twiddling my thumbs. I'm bored with that. It's like a boat. I bought my manager a boat, which eventually I didn't pay for, and he bought himself and sold it. But that's neither here nor there. But I went out in it for 10 minutes, and I said, well, what else does it do? And he said, nothing. So I had to come back. And yachts I can understand because you're doing something.
Sure.
But, you know, I wasn't very impressed with a 60,000 dollar yacht that it didn't mean anything to me. I'd rather gone out on a catamaran, really.
Do material